Welcome to this deep dive we've put together just for you, right into the music and entertainment industry. We're going to be going through some really fascinating research from Elias Kalours about Universal Music Group, the giant that holds 32% of the market share, and use it to kind of figure out what the future holds for everyone working in this exciting field, from artists to, the executives.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really valuable for anyone that wants to not just survive but thrive in this landscape that's evolving so rapidly.
Absolutely. So you've probably heard of UMG. They're the powerhouse behind superstars like Taylor Swift and Drake, right?
Yeah.
Boasting a catalog of over 3 million recordings and 4 million compositions.
Yeah.
But even giants have to adapt.
Mm.
What's interesting in this research is how UMG is facing these changes head on. What are some of the things that stood out to you?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me is that their strengths are also kind of their weaknesses. Their vast catalog and global reach gives them incredible leverage. But they also rely heavily on a small number of major artists for a big chunk of their profits.
It's a classic high-risk, high-reward scenario.
It is.
And they've also faced some pretty serious legal challenges, haven't they?
Yeah.
There's been talk of RICO accusations, even allegations of streaming manipulation.
It's true, and I think that really underscores the importance of understanding the legal complexities of the industry. RICO, for anyone that may not know, it's actually a law originally designed to combat organized crime. But it's been used in various contexts, including allegations of illegal activity within businesses. And so in UMG's case, these accusations, if proven true, could have significant legal and financial ramifications.
It definitely makes you think about the ethical implications as well.
Absolutely.
What does all this mean for someone, let's say, working at UMG, or even an independent artist trying to navigate this landscape?
Yeah, I think it highlights the need for vigilance and a deep understanding of the industry's legal and ethical boundaries. And for artists especially, it reinforces the importance of having strong legal representation and just being aware of their rights.
Now let's zoom out a bit. Look at the bigger picture of the music industry itself. Streaming completely revolutionized how we consume music, giving us access to, almost every song imaginable. But it's not all sunshine and roses, is it?
No, it's not. And while streaming platforms offer, unprecedented convenience and variety for listeners, it's also raised concerns about artist compensation. There's a lot of debate about whether artists are receiving fair royalties from these services. And I think it's crucial for anyone that's involved in music creation to really understand the economics of streaming and advocate for their fair share.
And what about us, the listeners? Are we part of the problem? There's a lot of talk about subscription fatigue these days. So many different streaming services vying for our attention and our wallets.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting. Research has actually shown that cost isn't the biggest factor for most people when choosing a streaming service. It's original content and how often it's updated.
So we're hooked on the novelty factor, like craving that constant stream of new music and exclusive releases.
Absolutely, yeah. And that creates a really unique challenge for these streaming services.
All right.
They need to constantly innovate, offer something unique to stand out from the crowd.
Right.
And for artists, it means finding creative ways to engage with fans beyond just releasing new music.
So how can artists cut through the noise and connect with their audience
Yeah.
in a meaningful way when there's so much competition?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to building a strong brand, cultivating a loyal fan base, using social media effectively, creating that unique experience that goes beyond just the music itself.
It's almost like artists need to become their own mini media companies.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
They need to be savvy entrepreneurs, marketers, and content creators, all while honing their craft.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is.
And then we have this whole other layer of complexity with, technology constantly disrupting the industry. AI isn't just writing songs like we've seen with Drake.
Right.
It's being used to create personalized fan experiences, analyze data to predict hits, and even automate certain aspects of music production. So how do we make sense of this?
I think it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, AI can be this incredible tool for artists and labels, helping them to reach new audiences, optimize their workflow, create really innovative experiences. But on the other hand, there's the potential for job displacement and concerns about the homogenization of creativity.
Right. Will robots replace musicians entirely?
That's the big question, isn't it? And while fully autonomous robot rock stars might still be a ways off. We're already seeing robotics being incorporated into live performances.
Like Cirque du Soleil using robots in their shows.
Exactly. And as the technology advances and becomes more affordable, it's not hard to imagine a future where robotic performers become more commonplace.
Makes you wonder what that means for the future of live music. Will audiences be drawn to the spectacle of robot performers? Or will they crave that human connection that comes from seeing real musicians on stage?
Yeah, it's a $1 million question, and it's one that UMG and other industry players are grappling with. They
Right.
need to figure out how to leverage these technologies in a way that enhances the fan experience without alienating their core audience.
And what about the artists themselves? Are they gaining or losing power in this new tech-driven world? And this research by Elias Kalors really delves into that dynamic, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it shows a really fascinating shift in the power dynamic between artists and labels. Labels are now signing artists much later in their careers,
Yeah.
after they've already built a following and proven themselves, so that puts more emphasis on self-development for these aspiring musicians.
So it's less about getting discovered and more about building your own brand and audience from the ground up.
Precisely.
But that also puts immense pressure on artists to be entrepreneurs, marketers, social media gurus, all while honing their craft,
Yeah.
empowering in some ways, incredibly demanding in others. How are artists finding new ways to generate revenue outside of the traditional label system? And we know virtual concerts are booming, but what else is on the horizon?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of experimentation with new revenue streams, integration into gaming platforms like Fortnite, licensing deals with health and wellness apps, even creating personalized experiences for fans through platforms like Patreon.
It's almost like the lines between music, entertainment, and technology are blurring.
They are.
What does this mean for someone working at UMG? I mean, they're not just a music company anymore, are they?
No, not at all. They need to be adaptable,
Yeah.
innovative, understand the evolving landscape of the entertainment industry as a whole.
So it's about being open to new possibilities
Yeah.
and finding creative ways to connect with audiences in this rapidly changing world.
It is. It's an exciting time to be in the music and entertainment industry, but it also demands a new level of agility and forward thinking.
We'll delve even deeper into these opportunities and challenges in the next part of our deep dive. But first,
Let's take a look at how these trends are playing out in different parts of the world. The global music landscape is more diverse and interconnected than ever before, and understanding these nuances is crucial for anyone working in this industry.
great point. Let's shift our focus to some exciting developments in emerging markets after a quick break.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the future of the music and entertainment industry. Before the break, we were talking about how technology and globalization are changing the game for everyone, from global giants like UMG to independent artists hustling to make their mark.
It's exciting, but also a bit daunting, right? It feels like you need a PhD in tech and business just to keep up.
It's definitely a lot to process, but one thing that's really fascinating is how this is playing out in different parts of the world. The rise of streaming and social media has given artists from emerging markets unprecedented access to a global audience.
It's like music is breaking down borders in a way we haven't seen before.
Exactly, and this is creating incredible opportunities for cultural exchange and musical innovation. Let's start with Africa. The continent has such a rich and diverse musical heritage, and we're seeing a new generation of artists, blending traditional sounds with modern influences to create something truly unique.
Like Afro beats. I've heard that's becoming incredibly popular globally.
It is. Artists like Burna Boy and Wizkid are topping charts worldwide. And it's not just about the music itself, it's the dance moves, the fashion, the whole cultural movement that's captivating audiences. And it's not just a one-way street. We're seeing Western artists collaborating with African musicians, creating this truly global sound.
So it's like a musical conversation with influences flowing back and forth across continents.
Exactly. And this is just one example. We're seeing similar trends in Southeast Asia, with K-pop leading the charge. But it's not just about the catchy tunes and elaborate choreography. It's about the power of fandom culture and how fans are actively participating in the creation and promotion of music.
It's like the lines between artist and fan are blurring, with fans becoming almost like co-creators.
And this is something that UMG and other major labels are starting to recognize. They're investing in these emerging markets, not just as sources of talent, but as centers of innovation and cultural influence.
So it's not just about exporting Western music to these markets. It's about learning from them and incorporating their sounds and styles into the global music landscape.
Exactly, and that's what makes this such an exciting time to be in the music industry. It's no longer dominated by a handful of Western countries. It's becoming this truly global conversation with each region contributing its unique voice to the mix.
And this global perspective is crucial for anyone working in the industry, isn't it?
Absolutely. Whether you're an artist, a producer, a label executive, or even a music journalist, you need to understand the global forces shaping the industry and be open to embracing new sounds and cultures.
So we've talked about the challenges and opportunities presented by streaming, technology, and globalization. But let's bring it back to UMG specifically. What are some concrete steps they can take to navigate this complex landscape and maintain their position as a global leader?
Well, one key takeaway from Elias Kalor's research is that UMG needs to find a balance between leveraging their existing strengths and embracing innovation. They have this incredible catalog and a roster of superstar artists, but they can't just rest on their laurels. They need to be actively investing in new technologies, exploring new markets, and finding creative ways to engage with fans.
So it's about combining the power of their legacy with a forward-thinking approach.
Exactly. They need to be agile and adaptable, willing to experiment and take risks. For example, they could create dedicated divisions focused on emerging technologies like AI and blockchain, partner with startups developing innovative fan experiences, or even launch their own streaming platform tailored to specific genres or regions.
So think outside the traditional music industry box and embrace a more entrepreneurial mindset.
And this applies not just to UMG, but to any company or individual working in the music and entertainment space. You need to be constantly learning, adapting, and seeking out new opportunities.
So it's about being proactive, not reactive. Don't wait for the industry to change around you. Be a part of shaping that change.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Now, speaking of shaping the future, one area that's particularly relevant to UMG is the rise of the creator economy. Platforms like TikTok and YouTube are empowering a new generation of artists to build their own audiences and careers independently.
It's like everyone has the potential to become a music star, whether or not they're signed to a major label.
Exactly, and this presents both a challenge and an opportunity for UMG. On the one hand, they need to figure out how to compete with these platforms for talent and attention. But on the other hand, they can also partner with these platforms, support independent creators, and perhaps even sign the most promising ones to their label.
So it's about recognizing that the future of music is not just about big stars and major labels, but about fostering a vibrant and diverse ecosystem of creators at all levels.
And that's where UMG's vast experience and resources can really make a difference. They can provide mentorship, marketing support, and access to distribution channels that can help independent artists reach a wider audience.
It's like being a talent incubator for the digital age.
Exactly, and it's a win-win situation. It benefits UMG by keeping them connected to the pulse of the music scene and discovering new talent. And it benefits independent artists by giving them the support and resources they need to succeed.
So it's about collaboration, not competition. Finding ways to work together to create a more inclusive and dynamic music industry.
And that's a really inspiring message for anyone working in this field. No matter your role, you can contribute to creating a more vibrant and equitable music ecosystem.
Absolutely, but before we get too idealistic, let's not forget that the music industry is still a business, and a fiercely competitive one at that. There are legal challenges to navigate, ethical considerations to address, and a constant pressure to innovate and stay ahead of the curve.
You're right. Let's bring it back down to earth and delve into some of the specific challenges that UMG faces and how they might approach these issues.
Let's take a closer look at those after a quick break. Welcome back to our deep dive into the music and entertainment industry. We've been using this incredible research by Elias Kalors to uncover not just the big picture trends, but what those trends mean for everyone working in this space, from aspiring artists to the folks making decisions at a powerhouse like UMG.
Yeah, and building on that point, we've talked about how UMG can capitalize on opportunities in emerging markets and the creator economy. But let's face it, there are still some serious challenges ahead. We touched on issues like piracy, streaming manipulation, and legal battles earlier. These are hurdles everyone in the industry needs to clear, not just UMG.
Feels like a constant uphill battle. As soon as one issue is addressed, another one pops up. So how can UMG, or any music company for that matter, stay ahead of the curve?
One word: transparency. Consumers are more informed than ever. They want to know how their data is being used, how artists are being compensated, and that companies are operating ethically. UMG could really set an example by being more open about their practices, especially when it comes to things like algorithms and royalty distribution.
So it's not enough to just say you're doing the right thing. You have to prove it.
Exactly. Actions speak louder than words. And it's not just about staying on the right side of the law, it's about building trust with both artists and fans.
Okay, transparency is key. What else?
Another big one is staying ahead of the tech curve, which is constantly evolving. We're talking AI, blockchain, the metaverse. These are game changers. UMG needs to be proactive, not reactive, in experimenting with these technologies and finding ways to integrate them into their business model.
So it's almost like they need to become a tech company that just happens to produce music.
In a way, yeah. That means attracting top tech talent, fostering a culture of innovation, and being willing to take risks. They could even consider setting up a venture capital arm to invest in promising music tech startups.
It's about thinking outside the traditional music industry box and embracing a more entrepreneurial mindset. But let's be realistic, all this innovation requires resources. How can they ensure they're making smart investments, especially with all the uncertainty in the market?
That's where data comes in. UMG has a treasure trove of information about listening habits, trends, and artist performance. Using that data strategically can inform everything, from artist development to marketing campaigns to investment decisions.
It's like, don't just sign artists, understand them and understand your audience.
Exactly. Data-driven decision-making is crucial in today's music industry.
So we've talked a lot about the challenges, the opportunities, but what does all of this mean for the future of music itself? What kind of music will we be listening to in 10, 20 years?
That's a fascinating question. If we look at the trends we've discussed, globalization, technology, the rise of independent creators, it points towards a future where music is even more diverse, personalized, and interactive than it is today. We'll likely see a fusion of genres and influences from all corners of the globe.
It's almost like we're moving towards a global musical melting pot.
And AI will likely play an even bigger role in music creation, potentially leading to entirely new genres and sounds that we can't even imagine yet. Virtual and augmented reality could transform the concert experience, making it more immersive and interactive.
Sounds like the possibilities are endless. But in the midst of all this change and innovation, what advice would you give to someone starting out in the music industry today?
Be passionate, be persistent, and be adaptable. The music industry is a tough business. But if you have a genuine love for music and a willingness to learn and evolve, you can find your niche.
And don't be afraid to take risks.
Absolutely. Sometimes the biggest rewards come from stepping outside your comfort zone.
So to wrap up this incredible deep dive, I want to thank Elias Couleurs for his insightful research, which has given us so much to think about.
Absolutely. His work is a valuable resource for anyone looking to understand the complex and evolving landscape of the music and entertainment industry.
And to all of you listening out there, whether you're an aspiring artist, a seasoned industry professional, or simply a music lover, we hope this deep dive has given you a glimpse into the exciting possibilities that lie ahead. The future of music is in your hands. So go out there, create, innovate, and make some noise.